Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about parallel lines and proportional parts. Um, Basically, it's just how do parallel lines intersecting with similar triangles, how does that affect proportionality? That's, in a matter of speaking, that's what we're talking about today. First thing I'm going to address is this triangle proportionality theorem. All that says is if BE is parallel to CD in this example here, then AB is going to, AB over BC is going to be proportional or equal to AE over AD. So I'm going to apply that same principle here to do example 1, and PQRST is parallel to RQ. So if PT is 7.5 and TQ is 3, so I'll write 7.5, I'll write a 3, and SR is 2.5. I can just call PS X. And then I just make a simple proportion as stated in the theorem. So in other words, x over 2.5 equals 7.5 over 3. Just make sure you maintain the same order. I did top over bottom equals top over bottom. So I'll cross multiply and divide. You get x equals 6.25. Okay, so in this next example, in triangle DEF, EH is 3, HF is 9, and DG is 1/3 the length of GF. Is DE parallel to GH? So really, we just need to verify proportionality here. If they're proportional, then the lines are parallel. So let's label. It gave me this is 3, and it gave me this is 9, and then it says that DG is 1/3 the length of GF. So if this is 1/3 the length of GF, I'll call this 1/3 X, and I'll call this X. So basically the ratio of DG to over GF is 1/3. I mean, I'll write it like this for you. 1/3 X over X. What's that equal? 1/3. Okay. What's 3 over 9 equal? 1/3. They both equal 1/3. That's good. So therefore it's proportional. So I will just write yes. DE is parallel to GH. And that's all there was to that one, was just to check the ratio was the same. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this midsegment of a triangle. So the definition is it's a segment with two endpoints out of the midpoints of the sides of a triangle. Every triangle has 3 midsegments. What are the midsegments of triangle ABC to the right? You know what? You should ignore that last sentence because there's no ABC triangle to the right. I will edit that out after I make copies. Okay, anyway. Here's the triangle midsegment theorem. And it's important that you read it or else it gets kind of confusing. If J and K are midpoints of FH and HG, then JK is parallel to FG, and JK is 1/2 the length of FG. So that says JK is 1/2 of FG. So if you want, you can call this X, and this is 2X. Since if it's 1/2, it's twice the length. But But yeah, let's look at the examples on the next page, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. It says x, y, and xz are midsegments of triangle RST. Find each measure. Okay, well, it gives me xy as 7. So if x, y, and xz are both midsegments, then I'm going to say that's also 7. And let's look at this like this. If this side is 7, then this side is 7, then this side is 2 times 7, so that's 14. That's what ST is. Okay, because the long side is twice the length of the short side. And to figure out what measure RYX is, well, let's look at where RYX is. It's right there. Okay, and the important information here is angle YXZ, which is 124. And remember, we have some parallel lines here because of the mid-segments. So like this line is parallel to this line, which means I have alternate interior angles with 124 and angle RYX, because I'm looking for this right here on the inside. So you just have to remember, are alternate interior angles congruent, or do they add up to 180? They are congruent. So I'm just going to write alternate interior angles, and I'm abbreviating. And so measure of RYX is 124. That's all there is to that one. Okay, next I'm going to talk about proportional parts of parallel lines. If AE is parallel to BF, which is parallel to CG, then you have AB over BC is going to equal EF over FG. So, how am I going to use that for example 4? Well, I don't even, example 4 is a little bit easier than that. Basically, you have to look for big and small triangles here. Here I have a big triangle there. And where do I have the small triangle? It's right here. Okay, so I need to make my proportion like so. I have 13 over 16, if you will. And what's that going to equal? Well, that's going to equal, I need to figure out this long side. Well, if this is 26 and that's 13, then the whole side is 39. Okay, so I'm going to go 39 over what exactly? This is x, that's 16. So I have to add those two together. You don't know what it is, so I'm going to leave it as 16 plus x. So when I cross multiply and divide, I'll have some distributing to do. I'll cross multiply 16 times 39. And I get 624. Let me zoom in so I can write smaller. 624, and then what's that going to equal? It's going to be 13 times 16 plus x. So I'm going to write that down exactly. 13 times 16 plus x. So what I like to do is distribute. 13 times 16 is 208. And 208 plus 13x is what that will get. And then I still have 624 over there. Now I just need to, now it's just a two-step problem. I'm going to minus this over, and then I'll divide by the number that's by the x. So 624 minus 208 is 416. 416 equals 13x. What's 416 divided by 13? We get 32. Okay. Next I have this congruent parts of parallel lines. It's kind of related to this proportional parts of parallel lines. If AE, BF, and CG are all parallel to one another, then AB is congruent to BC. So you can use that same logic to figure out these right here. Let's just do the y's first. You see they're already marked as congruent. So I'm just going to set them equal to each other and solve. I'll go 3y plus 8, and that's going to equal 5y minus 7. Okay, and so 3y is smaller than 5y, so I'm going to minus this over there. 8 equals 2y minus 7. So now I can add this 7 over there, and I get 15 equals 2y. When you divide out the 2, 15 cut in half is 7.5. And the x's aren't marked, but it's the same property. Since these parallel lines cut through, these two segments are congruent to one another. So I'm going to write 6x minus 5 equals 4x plus 3. And 4x is smaller, so I'm going to minus that over there. I get 2x minus 5 equals 3. Going to add 5. And I get 2x equals 8. So when you divide 2, you're going to get x equals 4. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Hope this helped. Thanks. Bye.